Welcome to the Nerd on Nerd podcast with me, Jack Hempster.
And me, Liam Underwood.
Hi Liam, how are you doing?
Well, pleased you asked, because now it's time for my favourite part of the show, catching up with Jack and Liam.
Hey.
So, to answer your question, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm also good. I've, not been up to much.
Yeah, you haven't had an action-packed week?
No.
I'm going to be honest, my week has been very... it was a lot of working late, because I had a project that I had to get finished.
Yeah.
So, I do not have an interesting week to report back, I'm afraid.
But that's part of the show, Liam, is we give the listeners a little glimpse into our lives.
Yeah, well, the glimpse into my life last week was it was a lot of long working hours.
Well, how exciting.
But I'll tell you what, did I celebrate on the weekend?
What did you do on the weekend?
Went to the cinema.
How many times did you go to the cinema?
Since we've last spoken, 3 times. So once the weekend before last...
Yep.
And then twice over this weekend.
Okay, well, that's pretty impressive.
Well, one of my resolutions is to try and make the effort to go to the cinema more.
Yeah, which you should do, because watching a film in the cinema is incredible.
It's not, though.
Why?
It's just, there are people there.
Yeah, but the actual film itself is...
So I went to see a movie by myself last night, and I had to sit next to a complete dickhead who answered his phone during the movie.
No.
Yes.
What did you do?
Tutted.
Did you say anything?
No, I just tutted. I can't... he was bigger than me. I couldn't say something.
You 100% could.
No, he was he was proper, what's the polite word? He was the sort of person who, if you saw him on the street, you would probably cross the road to avoid him so you didn't get glassed.
Right, okay.
He was one of those that... And, again, I don't mean to sound snobby... completely clad in a tracksuit.
As a kid, I used to just wear a tracksuit, so...
Yeah, you grow out of it.
I did grow out of it.
When you're late teens, early 20s, you stop doing that, especially when you're going to the fucking cinema.
How old was this gentleman?
If I had to guess, late teens, early 20s.
What? Well, that's okay.
It's really not.
It's not. I sound like I'm defending the guy, but he's an absolute dickhead for answering his phone.
Not only that, right? But, I'm sorry, there's a kind of... There's almost... It's not a rule so much, but just a politeness. When you're at the cinema and you have popcorn, yeah?
Yep.
It's inevitable there's going to be some rustling, especially at Cineworld, because for some reason, they don't give you a box, they just give you a paper bag with the popcorn in.
Oh, right, Jesus.
So there's inevitably going to be some rustling. What you don't fucking do, when you get to the bottom, is tip the whole fucking bag into your mouth and shake it, while the film is on. So... This is the sort of fucking degenerates that I have to deal with when I go to the cinema, which is what initially put me off of going to the cinema for many, many years.
I mean, that's fair. I understand. And in a similar vein, Liam, I also went to the cinema this weekend.
Yeah.
Right? And your story has reminded me of this. I don't know why I'd forgotten.
Okay.
I have never been as furious at a cinema as I was on Saturday. We were sitting it was me and one friend.
Yeah.
We were sitting 2 rows back from this group of teenagers.
Was it a date, perhaps?
No, this is one of my male friends who I just go to the cinema with.
So for those listeners who are listening and, are eager to find out what's going on in Jack's dating life, this wasn't a date.
No.
Okay.
No, it wasn't. Right. Anyway...
I'm just saying, that might be disappointing for some, but also might give others a glimmer of hope.
Please stop trying to pimp me out to the listeners.
You know who you are. Continue.
So we're sitting 2 rows back
from
this group of, I think it must have been about 8 teenagers. They looked like it was the new Tarantino movie, Hateful Eight.
We'll get there.
You had to be 18 to get in there, right?
Yeah.
So they must have been 18, but they looked like they had just turned 18.
Okay.
So already I was like, oh, okay, I feel like this isn't going to be your type of movie. You've come because you're like, Tarantino does blood and gore. And I was like, but you're not going to get any of the other stuff he does. You're just going to be expecting action, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a fair assumption to make of them.
Yeah, sure. Without knowing any of them, yeah, that's a fair assumption.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of them,
yeah.
Right, on the far right, he had the most irritating habit I've ever seen in a cinema, which is he would loudly talk to his friend during all the quiet parts of the film.
Oh, that's not good.
So that's already I'm like, okay, you're getting on my nerves. He'd turn around, he'd say something quite loudly, his friend would quietly chuckle, he would laugh. You'd be like, oh, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Then he started whispering when there were action scenes. Now, you know, I'm not being one to judge here, but if you're already... He knows how to whisper. He's established that with the whispering. So why was he not doing it?
Wow. So, did you say anything?
I am like you. I can't deal with social interactions in the real world.
Yeah.
I can barely talk to you on here.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything. I just kept looking at my friend who was laughing at how angry I was. He said he'd never seen me that angry in a cinema.
And were you kind of looking at him being like, look, you can see I'm fucking angry, but I'm trusting you to kind of be the one here to deal with this situation socially?
No. I wasn't looking with any expectation of you should say something.
Is your friend also like you when it comes to...
No, he has said to people in cinemas before to keep it down.
Okay.
But that was to a drunk guy that was sitting right behind us, which if anything, was braver than...
Yeah, because that's the thing. I'm not sure... One, I'm not sure what to say, and two, I very much don't like speaking in the cinema because it's just not on. It's not a cool thing to do.
See, I don't have an issue with it if you're telling someone to be quiet. If I hear someone in the cinema go, shh, or keep it down, or whatever, I'm like, yeah, fair enough. You're standing up for our right.
No, I get that. For me... It makes me nervous, the thought of having to speak when the movie is on. I just don't like that thought. And also, I just don't know what to... I know that you should say just something, you know, pretty simple, like, keep it down, or, you know, come on. But, again, it comes back to, I feel like I have the voice where I can't get away with saying something like that without it coming across wrong, and then, no doubt, they would get aggressive or defensive, and I don't want to get into an argument while there's a movie on, because I just want to watch the movie, you know?
Yeah. So I had a similar issue, or I have a similar issue, in that my problem isn't that I couldn't sound sincere. My issue is that I have a tendency to get angry.
Yeah.
And not think through what I'm going to say. So luckily my social awkwardness usually sort of cancels that out. So I'll be like, oh, I should just shout at this dude, tell him to shut the fuck up, get in a fist fight. And then I'm like, I don't want to get in a fist fight because I'm socially awkward. Then sort of 10 minutes later... the normal brain kicks back in and goes, also, you're the one in the wrong if you go over and punch someone.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm sort of lucky in that. But so I had about 20 minutes of the film sort of interspersed throughout the film where I was just sitting there going, I'm going to lob something at this kid. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to say something. And all the situations in my head, I was like, the only reason I didn't do it was I was like, if he turns around and is like, no, what are you going to do about it? Then I'll feel awkward because I, like you, wouldn't want to carry on speaking through the film.
Exactly, and that's the issue, I think, is I would be worried that they would retort somehow.
Yes, and then suddenly you're like, oh, now I've become... If I just tell them to shush, that's fine.
Yeah.
If I'm having a discussion with them about why they should shush, everyone's going to turn around and be like, you shush.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's a no-win situation almost. Except, obviously, if you say shush and then they do shush, that is a win.
That's a mild win. I feel like the real win is if you say shush, they shush, and then everyone in the cinema cheers you.
Yeah, that would be good. And then as you leave,
they carry you out on their shoulders, and that kid has to leave with his head down.
And people throw popcorn at him as he's leaving.
Yeah, women run up to you and they say, you're a hero. What you did in there, I've never witnessed before.
Exactly. Yeah, so I mean... So out of the 3 times I went to cinema recently, that has been my only, annoying experience.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to not let that put me off of going back.
No, it shouldn't. It's so rare for it to be... Like, someone answering their phone in the cinema, that's crazy. That's that's full on... I can't even believe someone did that.
Exactly. That's just, you have no respect for the fact that there's people here that have paid money to come and see this movie. I just wished, that there was a way of just keeping these idiots I'm not going to be a dick. Let's not say keep them out of the cinema, but keep them to their own screening so they can all go to just that screening and they can all just be dickheads and talk on the phone and shout and dick around. And then, us people that actually want to see the movie, go to a different screen.
That's not a terrible idea.
It's not, but if you're at the ticket machine being like, do you want to go see the dickhead screening or the normal person screening? I don't know how many people are going to opt for the dickhead screening.
That's true. Maybe we shouldn't call it that.
I don't know. I'm just saying, it would be nice if maybe you be a dickhead at a cinema, right? And they people who own the cinema monitor. So let's say, for example, you're monitoring us watching the movie. You see a guy pick up his phone, you go, that guy's a dickhead. Then you profile him, and next time he comes to the cinema, you don't give him the option to go to a normal screening. He can only go to dickhead screenings with others of his ilk.
Well, I feel like if you're at the point where you're that disruptive, I think they should just... Like how clubs have that list of, like, the blacklist where you can't come in.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're that disruptive, they should be able to just put you on a list and say, look, mate, you're one person, you're not that much of our income.
Yeah, I agree.
Bye.
Even, right, the other thing that bothers me is, I know, so listeners may be listening and they may be thinking, got an answer for you here. The way to deal with someone like that, go and get someone that works at the cinema, have a quiet word, and get them to come and deal with it.
You have to miss some of the film to see it.
Exactly. So that's not an option.
Exactly.
So, really, what I think they should do is, you know, on, like, planes, you have, what are they called? Like, the air police?
Oh, in America they have the air marshals.
Yeah. Get some cinema marshals. So you get someone, they've got, like, let's say, I don't know how this works, but they've got, like, night vision goggles on, but, like, inconspicuous.
Oh, okay.
And they're, like, monitoring the audience. So when someone is a dickhead, they just go over and hoist them out. And also, I think, let's say you're in a cinema and there's a few people being a dickhead. As soon as dickhead number one gets hoisted out, I bet you the rest of the dickheads calm the fuck down.
Yeah, I'd imagine they would.
So, I'm just saying, this is just how I think we could deal with that problem.
Yeah. I'm on board. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's make that a job. Also, helps with unemployment.
Exactly.
So, win-win. So, shall we do... This is a film that we saw at the cinema, and now it's time for our spoiler-free review of that film that we saw at the cinema?
Yes, let's do it.
Which one would you like to do first?
Well, let's start with the one that we've both seen.
Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight.
I went to see The Hateful Eight a couple of weekends ago. Tarantino's new movie. I think you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
Thought it was good. 3.5 out of 5.
On your scale, just to remind everyone.
Just to remind everyone, my scale that makes perfect sense to me and anyone with a brain.
Yep.
What did you think?
That's the one I saw on Saturday.
Yep.
And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It was a little bit... It's more talky than his other films.
Well, that's not going to spoiler territory.
That's not... How is that a spoiler? It's more talky.
Okay. Just warning you. I know sometimes you get all excited and you get a bit carried away, and then next thing you know, you're telling everyone who the villain in the Bond movie is, and I've got to cut that out of the episode.
That was a simple mistake, sir. I also didn't realise that was a spoiler at the time, to be fair.
Well.
Okay. I'm not going to say anything. It's just more talky than his other films.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed it.
Out of 5?
I'd give it a 3.5.
On your scale?
On my scale, which means that I rate it slightly higher than you, we think, maybe.
Right, but we gave it the same number.
We've given it the same number, but on my scale, it's higher up than the equivalent of your scale.
That's wrong, you realise.
What we need is a unified rating system.
But wait, what you're not understanding, okay, is you're saying it's slightly higher up on your scale. That doesn't make sense.
No, it does, because 2.5 is the midpoint of my scale.
Okay.
3 was the midpoint of yours.
Alright, so when you give something a 3.5, you're saying that you liked it...
On your scale, on your scale, I give it a 4.
Yeah.
On my scale, I give it a reasonable 3.5.
Okay, but on my scale, I give it a 3.5.
Which on my scale would be a 3.
Right. So just so everyone's clear with that, that's our rating for The Hateful Eight.
Every time we rate movies from now on, we're going to have to explain...
I don't think we should. I think we should just rely on people to understand if we both say it's 3.5, they can go into it and they can expect it to be better than average, but not brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that trust in our listeners.
We do trust them.
Well, some of us. So, did you see anything else at the cinema over the last couple of weeks?
I haven't seen anything else at the cinema, I don't think.
Okay, so, this weekend, I saw The Revenant.
Yep.
It's an okay movie. Personally, I would say it's worth seeing at the cinema because it's a very cinematic movie, but I wouldn't recommend going to the cinema to see it because it's not that good of a movie.
Okay.
So, if you could emulate the cinema experience for cheap and see it, then that's obviously optimal.
So like a shitty projector and a sheet on a wall.
If you had a good projector.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is it's a cinematic movie. It's just not necessarily worth seeing at the cinema because it isn't that good of a movie. It's an average movie. It's 3 out of 5.
Fair enough.
And then the other movie that I saw, so I don't think we mentioned it on the podcast, but I recently watched all of the Rocky movies.
Yep.
The reason why was so I could be ready to go and see Creed.
Yeah, it looked good in the trailers.
It's not a bad movie. It's another 3 out of 5, but better than The Revenant.
Okay, that's fair enough.
The only issue is it retreads a lot of familiar ground.
Yeah, well, it's sort of... Well, I haven't seen it, so I can be spoiler-free with everything I say. So if I am getting in spoiler territory, just don't answer or something. Okay. But if it... I mean, this isn't going to be spoilers, so I don't know why I'm saying that, Liam. But it feels like it's their sort of attempt at a reboot without doing a reboot.
Essentially, I think that's the idea behind it, is they want to shift the focus onto a new character, but without doing like a completely hard reboot. So,
yeah.
So Rocky is still a character. He's in this movie, but he isn't the main focus.
Yeah, Creed is.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
So have you seen all of the Rocky movies?
No, I've seen the first one. I don't even know if I've seen the second one.
Okay. I would honestly recommend them to you.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, what I like about Rocky, particularly the first one, is it's not a boxing movie, despite the fact that that's what everyone associates it as.
It sort of is.
It sort of
what
isn't.
With the boxing?
I mean, yeah, there's boxing in it, but the majority of that movie is about a love story.
I don't even remember the love story aspect of Rocky.
It's literally the whole point of it.
I'm pretty positive the whole point is boxing.
You need to rewatch it.
I haven't seen it for years.
Exactly. If you rewatch it, you'll understand that the boxing happens, and it's there, and it's almost like the skeleton of the story. It centres around the boxing, but the real meat and the nitty-gritty, if you will, is about these two characters falling in love with each other.
Okay. Well, I'll trust you, Liam, because you've seen them recently.
Exactly, and that's why by the end of the movie, no spoilers, it doesn't really matter who wins the boxing match, because Rocky has found love.
I don't like when... I've told you before, I don't like when you get all philosophical about things.
Why not?
I don't know, it upsets me.
Why is that?
I'm not sure.
Is it because I blow your mind with these philosophical
you're not.
mind
if
bombs?
You could see my face right now.
Yeah,
so
I'm disappointed that I can't see your face right now.
Well, once I get my internet sorted, maybe you will be able to see my face.
I'll enjoy that. So yeah, those are the movies that I saw at the cinema, and those are my spoiler-free reviews of the movies that I saw at the cinema.
And Jack's one spoiler-free review of the movie that Jack saw at the cinema.
Exactly, I hope you enjoyed that.
That's my favourite segment, because I like hearing you say the name.
It's a good one, isn't it?
It is, it's our most ingenious name.
I agree with that. I mean, catching up with Jack and Liam, it's a great segment, but the name is a bit, it's a bit Ronseal.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's your favourite segment.
It is my favourite segment, but not because of its name.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like, the name is just, you know what you're getting.
Whereas Jack and Liam's spoiler-free review of the film they saw at the cinema, that is a mystery until you get into it. It's like a Kinder Egg toy.
Exactly. And even culture swap, I mean, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Just doesn't make sense.
Moving on!
Well, moving on to culture swap, maybe?
No.
No?
No. Jack has things he wants to talk about.
That's alright, Jack's got things he wants to talk about, so let's shut the fuck up and listen to Jack talk about those things.
So, our new favourite segment of the show, Jack's got stuff he wants to say, everyone stop and listen. It sounds like I'm about to rant at everyone and sort of go into some appeal or something.
I think that's what we're expecting.
Well, did you, what were your opinions on the original Cloverfield movie?
I like it. It gets a bad rep.
Yeah, it does, and I don't know why, because I've got a few friends that we super enjoyed it and loved that movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's one of the first movies that really kind of started pushing found footage. Like, obviously, I think it was like 9 years before that we had the Blair Witch, which is the found footage movie.
That is.
Even though we had found footage before the Blair Witch, of course.
Yeah.
With a movie like Cannibal Holocaust, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Cloverfield is where Cloverfield almost gave it a resurgence, shall we say?
It was the start of that next wave. Right?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Too many films came out after that were shaky cam, hand cam, and then everyone goes, "Oh, Cloverfield's just one of those hand cam films," and you're like, "No, they were doing it just before that started."
Exactly.
So that annoys me that people say that, but still,
it has a good mystery to it. Not only did I like the movie, but I liked the build-up to the movie.
Yes, were you aware of the ARG, or augmented reality game that was going on with the movie release?
I was aware of it, but I didn't partake in it.
See, we didn't really, but we did sort of, after the movie especially, we went back and found a lot of that stuff, and we're looking at the sites and being like, oh, this is cool that they did this.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I like that. So, imagine my surprise this morning when I see that a trailer has been released for a sequel to Cloverfield.
Which, the fact that in this day and age, they could put a movie into production, film it, cut together a trailer, and then just drop that trailer with no one knowing, because it came out of nowhere, really.
Yeah, it did.
How they did that in this day and age, where we know what Marvel movies are coming out in the fucking year 2020.
Exactly.
Like, that's mental.
Yeah, now it is J.J. Abrams again, and he is good at doing that, keeping things under wraps.
Yeah, was he kind of maybe using Star Wars as a buffer for this,
that's
perhaps?
That's one of the things people are sort of surprised. We don't know how involved he is with the new Cloverfield movie.
Yeah, because he's just got a producer credit, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, it's still impressive. But
yeah, of course.
So I'm excited seeing this trailer. The trailer's really good. I reckon everyone should go watch it. It looks like it's going to be an interesting film.
Yeah, I really liked the music that they used in the trailer.
Yeah, the music is really well done.
And it's one of those trailers that I adore, where it doesn't give you really any information about the plot of the movie.
No, you see things that we know will happen in the film now.
Yeah, but then out of context.
Yeah, exactly. So I then, after seeing this, I was like, oh my goodness, how did I not know this was happening? So I did a little bit of research. And this is where things started to break down a little bit.
Okay.
And I've become a little bit worried.
Okay.
So the first thing I found was an article which was based off of a Reddit post, which, so already this is spurious, like, we don't know how reliable this source is. But they were saying that apparently this film has been in production for 6 years or something. It's got a $5 million budget, which is like Cloverfield had $25 million. So it's less than Cloverfield, which, that's not an issue. You can make a good movie with not much money. But then they were saying that this film had been written and sort of made under a different name. And then Paramount apparently took this film, said it's never going to happen like this, put the Cloverfield name on it, did a couple of rewrites and reshot some scenes. Okay,
so that's a technique that tends to happen a lot with horror movie sequels.
Yeah. It's a different film, but we can make it work, sort of thing.
Yeah, like Saw 2, for example.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. That makes sense, because it's a very different film, isn't it? That's the one in the house, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. See, so I get that. My issue is that one of the good things about Cloverfield was the sort of story and the mythology that was going on around it.
Yes.
So if this is a different film, which we don't, again, we don't know for sure it is.
Yeah.
That worries me that it might not be that Cloverfield-y, if that makes sense.
No, that does make sense, and I get why you're worried about that. And I think that's the thing with the trailer, is the trailer doesn't really give you a very strong Cloverfield vibe.
I didn't realise it was a Cloverfield sequel till I looked it up, because I saw the name and was like, that can't be a mistake. They have a bit where the name Cloverfield faded in first, and I was like, this can't be a sequel to that. So that's made me a little bit worried.
But the thing is, it has John Goodman in it, who I love the guy.
Yeah, he's good.
Like, have you ever seen Coyote Ugly?
I have not.
It's a bit of a chick flick, but he's in it, and he's an absolute highlight, in all honesty.
Fair enough.
And it also has Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah, well, there's 3 actors that we see in the trailer, so I can figure out who that one is.
Yeah, well, you maybe will know her from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh, now that you say that, yeah.
Exactly. And again, I love her. I love seeing her in things.
Yeah. The thing is, it could be even the only problem I'll have is because it looks like it's going to be a good film. I would have seen this film if it wasn't Cloverfield branded.
Yeah.
That's where it worries me, is the fact that it looks like it could be a good film. I'm worried that by tacking it on, if this is what's happening, I'm worried that will ruin it, that they've made it Cloverfield and trying to set it in that universe.
Yeah, they're trying to almost sort of they're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, if you will. Yeah.
Which, again, we don't know that for sure. This is a Reddit post. Don't trust the internet.
Yeah, I mean, you are taking a lot from one Reddit post.
Well, yeah, it just sounded very convincing. The guy seemed to know a fair amount. But then I was like, right? Because they were saying one of their sort of arguments and evidence was that it had 2 different names.
Okay.
But they do that with films when they don't want to reveal the name.
Yes.
Because it's a secret.
Yeah, exactly.
That made me be like, well, maybe it has always been Cloverfield, you know. It's hard to tell at this point.
Yeah, I think at some point, the director or something needs to come out and say, look, this is a Cloverfield sequel. It was always intended as a Cloverfield sequel. Don't believe everything you read on fucking Reddit.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think once that happens, you'll maybe have your mind a bit more at ease.
Exactly. That's what I'm hoping will happen. That is my dream scenario.
Yeah, actually, Cloverfield was one of the few films that I saw in the cinema back in the past.
Did you get motion sickness?
I did not.
Neither did I.
No, I don't understand people that did.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, I don't get that. Just man the fuck up. It's just a movie.
I don't think motion sickness isn't not being a man, Liam. You're also the guy that sat next to a guy who talked on his phone in a cinema and didn't say anything.
Yeah. But I don't get motion sickness.
That's true.
Just got annoyed. But no, I mean, you know, for me, I had no issues with the way it was filmed. And also, I think it's worth noting, this isn't filmed like that.
No, yeah, it's not a handycam film.
Yeah, which is interesting because they tried to do... so, are you familiar with the Spanish zombie film Wreck?
Yes, I am.
So, did you know that there's 3 sequels to it?
Yes, I've seen Wreck 2, I believe. But
Okay.
I don't think I've seen the others.
So, both Wreck and Wreck 2 are shot with the Handycam style.
Yep.
Wreck 3 actually opens and is shot traditionally for like the first half of the movie and then switches to Handycam.
Oh, see, that sort of rings a bell. Maybe I have seen Wreck 3.
It takes place at a wedding.
Oh, then no, I haven't.
Yeah. So, and there's also a 4th one now, but I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, are they worth watching? Or is 3 worth watching?
Nah.
Fair enough. I won't worry about it then.
Yeah, don't. It's weird that they shot half of it like traditional and then reverted back. It was jarring and yeah, just it's not worth bothering with.
That is a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going off topic. I think that brings us quite nicely then to my favourite part of the show, Culture Swap.
Way.
So Liam.
So Jack.
Remind our listeners of what I suggested you watch. No, play.
So last time we decided to mix things up a little bit and we decided to do games. Now, before you kick off, they're not real games, I'm sorry, but apps that are games count as games.
Now, I would like to very quickly point something out.
Yeah?
I believe what you told me was we were picking apps, not that we were picking games.
Well, we were doing games.
I probably wouldn't have suggested the thing I suggested for you.
It's a game.
Oh, my one is a game. Oh, I haven't... Yeah, my one definitely is a game.
Yeah, and the thing so this is the thing, right? People will be like, for example, people who are maybe a bit snobby about games would be like, oh, Candy Crush isn't a game.
It's not.
I'm sorry, it is a game.
It is a game. What the issue that you've got there is that the people you're referring to, people that would say this isn't a game.
Yes.
They are referring to the difference between casual games and actual games.
No, and I get that there's a difference, right? For example, you wouldn't compare a game like Candy Crush to Call of Duty Black Ops 3, for example. No. They are very different things. They're kind of like comparing an episode of Big Brother to an episode of Breaking Bad, for example.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm on your side.
Yeah, it's different.
I feel like you're just a little bit butthurt from the blab we had, where a lot of people shouted at you and said this wasn't a game.
And they were all wrong.
Correct.
Exactly. So the game you gave me
Go on.
was Her Story.
Yep.
Developed by a guy called Sam Barlow.
Okay. And
the basic premise of the game is you're a detective and there's been a murder. Something is afoot and you've got access to all of these video files, but you can only see 5 of them at a time, and if you want to see more, you have to search through a database using keywords, and then if that word is mentioned in the video file, it will come back as a result. Yep.
Just to quickly point out to people, this will have spoilers in it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to try and not spoil it for a bit, just because...
Yeah.
It's a good game, and I feel like if you haven't tried it, and you're curious about it, definitely give it a go.
Yeah. Honestly, don't keep listening to us when we get towards that bit.
Exactly. And it's very much... we're talking about how there's a wide spectrum of games, and this would, I say, fall on the periphery of that spectrum, because it's not, you know, like a beat 'em up where there's a lot of button mashing or whatever. It's literally just searching for words and then trying to piece a puzzle together in your head.
You say that, but it's not. When you say that, we were talking about casual games and proper games. I'm air quoting there.
Yeah.
But this wouldn't fall onto the casual game
No,
spectrum at all.
this is not a casual game.
This is not a game you can turn on, watch a couple of the clips, then leave for 2 weeks and try and finish later.
No, I completely agree, but it's also not like most of your games where there's a lot of controls.
Yeah, but that's not. See, you're differentiating in the wrong way, because the difference between casual and a proper game isn't how complex it is. It's
I'm not saying
a casual game is one
it's
you
a
can
casual
spend 3 minutes
game.
playing.
I'm just saying
it's
when
not a beat 'em up or a shooter. I think
what I'm
people
saying,
realise that.
what I'm saying is when you say game to people, they have a certain conception in their head of what you mean by that. And what I'm saying is this is not so much a game as it's literally just you typing in words and then watching the videos that play because of the words you typed in.
Yeah, well, I would disagree with you on that point.
There's no real gameplay.
Your definition of a game was there's not that many controls. So, you know, sorry if I take a step back and say I don't think that's the definition.
What I'm saying is there's not much gameplay. There's not a lot of you interacting with the game. You type in a word.
No, but there is.
And you watch a clip.
So let's start actually talking about it and not falling out over our definitions of things again.
Okay.
So one of the things that I really liked about this game when I played it, which was, you know, sometime last year, is the fact that it's a story-based game, right? So
exactly.
There's this story, but instead of being the traditional, here's the story, go from point A to point B, maybe have some choices, this game is literally, you could type in a word, a random word, find a video clip, and be like, oh, okay, so now I know this really important bit of information, and that would change the entire way you experience that story.
That is actually what I think happened to me when I played it.
Did you start typing random words in?
It wasn't so much a random word, but I typed in a word, and something happened, and I kind of was like, right, I get what they're doing.
Okay.
And this was maybe, I think, my 6th search term that I typed in.
Did you take the advice that I'd given you off podcast about taking notes?
Yes.
Good, because I feel like that's a really important. I don't know why that just added to it when I had like this list of words that I was like, I've got to go back and search that because I think that's important.
So the way I played it is, you start off with 5 clips, okay, that you don't have to search anything for, and it kind of, you know, in those clips, certain names are mentioned. So I started by going through names. So I wrote down the names, searched for those. If other names or locations were mentioned, for example, I made a note of those. And then, quite early on, there was a clip where there was an object in the video. So I searched for that because I wanted to see if it's ever mentioned why that object is there. And that's when I kind of feel like it all started falling together very early on for me.
I feel like we've got to a point where we're going to be doing spoilers. So just everyone that's listening that hasn't played this game...
Wait. Before that, I would say, if you haven't played the game and you have a couple of hours to spare, it's worth giving a go. Because it's not your standard typical gaming experience.
Yeah, it is a completely different thing.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier about the gameplay being very different. I get
what your point was. You were just making it poorly.
Exactly, but now I just made it perfectly.
You did. That was very good. All right, listeners, if you haven't played this game, go play it. Or, I mean, you can carry on listening, but we're going to spoil it.
Yeah, and it is the sort of game where you kind of don't really want it to be spoiled.
No, you won't enjoy it if you know what happens.
Yeah.
Leave a little gap for people to leave. See you later. Yeah, come back later when you've done it. Just carry on listening. Oh, hi. Welcome back, guys. So, her story's really good, right? Liam, the object you're talking about...
Yeah.
Was it the guitar?
Yeah.
See, now, what spoiler did that... not spoiler because you were playing the game, but what did that reveal? I know you get the songs.
Yeah, the song basically gives you everything.
Okay. What
did the
song give you?
About a blonde and a brunette, right?
Yep.
Who drown a man.
Yep.
That I think they were both interested in.
Yep.
Which is kind of what happens in the game. Oh, okay, obviously it's not drowning.
I'm starting to think, Liam, that you didn't solve the murder.
No, I think I did. So
what do you think happened?
There's 2 people.
Okay. You've immediately failed.
How?
Carry on with your theory. I'm just going to keep dropping in how you failed.
There's 2 people. There's Eve. and there's Hannah.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And
You're wrong, but yes.
the one bit that I couldn't quite figure out, are they twins or the same person?
Okay, yeah, that's the big bit. So there's a bunch of clips later where I can't remember the search terms to get there because it's been so long since I played.
Yeah.
But you get to a point later on where you are listening to Eve talk instead of... Is she Hannah? I can't remember who the main lady's name is.
Yeah, the main one is Hannah, and then there's Eve.
So you can find the interviews with Eve, which
Yes.
are just interviews with her.
Yeah. But she looks
It's all
exactly
just her.
the same.
Yeah, because it's her. It's her. It's not a twin. It's her.
Right.
There's other things that lead to pointing out that she is the same girl.
That's what I couldn't figure out. So
Yeah.
when I listened... Right, let me explain.
Okay.
When I searched the guitar term and saw the song, my immediate assumption was these are the same people. So literally, my next search term was schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Then, as I listened more, to me, it felt a little bit like, right, maybe they're different people. I think it's meant to be open for interpretation. I don't think there is a definitive answer.
I think there is a definitive answer, but
I don't think
I'm
there
very
is.
stubborn with these things, Liam.
Yeah, and like I said, the fact that I searched things like schizophrenia and nothing came up, like if that's kind of what I was looking for.
Schizophrenia isn't split personality disorder, so that was your main mistake.
Alright, but that was just an example. I also typed in split personality and shit.
But that would have been... See, that's the thing. They're very... The way they made it is really clever.
Yes.
Because they must have written all those scripts
Yes.
for those scenes and specifically being like, we can't say certain things because that would be... If someone searches that, that's it, over.
Yeah.
So I think it's such a well-made game.
It is. It is really well made. What I will say is, I don't think a phone is the best way to play it.
No, it's not.
I think like if I'd have played it on a laptop or desktop or something.
I don't know. On the phone, does it look... Yeah, so it gives you the desktop and stuff. Does it still give you the monitor flicker where you can see the reflection of the character? Yeah. See, because playing that on the desktop,
Yeah.
you're like fully immersed because you're like, oh my god, I'm on a desktop. He's on a desktop.
Yeah. And again, it plays into that whole idea of reflections.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I think the theory of it being split personality is the one that is the most almost obvious in a way.
No,
like it makes most sense.
Again, Liam, the twins is the most obvious,
depending on how you see the story.
Yeah, I think that's the reason I enjoyed that game so much.
Yeah.
Was that it was so... I love the idea of you finding the story yourself. Like the story's there, it already exists, but you're piecing it together yourself and following your own trails.
Yeah, you know, it was a fine game. It passed a couple of hours. I wish I played it on desktop instead of a phone. For me, I associate phone games with like great poopy games.
Yeah, this is not a poopy game. This is a sit down for a few hours and play this game.
Yeah, this is like when you're doing a poop. But if a normal person's doing a poop, this is not the game for them.
I don't sit on the toilet for 3 hours.
You said earlier when you were reading, you spend hours.
I didn't say hours.
Well,
I said an hour.
well. But yeah, you know, not a bad game. And the woman, Viva Cypher,
Yep, sure.
Viva Cypher, she's really good.
Yeah.
Considering she kind of has to really carry the entire game.
Yeah, because she is the only person you see. I think you see like a couple of arms maybe every now and again of someone else.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, yeah, it's all about her, and she gives a good performance. And the fact that her performance was ambiguous enough that you were never quite sure who it was you were watching was also quite well done.
Yeah.
So, you know, for you, a surprisingly good recommendation for once.
Well, don't keep your hopes up. What would you have given it, Liam, out of 5 on your rating system?
3.5.
That's a surprise to me. Everything this week's been 3 or 3.5.
The only thing that stops it from being a 4 is how short it is. And not only how short it is, but, you know...
But again, that's not something in their control. Can you penalise it for that?
No, and once you've... Well, I guess the other thing is, it's my fault it is that short, because I didn't search for everything, which would have added time to it.
No, but even then, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about they can't control how quickly you discover the clips.
Yeah,
sort of
exactly. There's that. And also, the whole discovering the clips thing is a good, interesting idea for, like, the first hour. But by a certain point, you just want to figure out what's going on, and the actual fun of playing it is replaced by just wanting to figure it out.
Ah, see, I didn't get that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, fine game, and I would recommend, if you have the opportunity to play it, do it on desktop, not on phone.
Yeah, agreed.
But it is also a shame that I didn't like it enough to want to hunt down all of the clips.
No, yeah, but I really enjoyed it, and I didn't hunt down all the clips.
Yeah,
because I felt like to me, it wasn't about finding the clips. It was about finding that story or making your story.
Exactly.
So when I finished, I think there was about 20 minutes afterwards where I was trying to wrap up some loose ends and stuff.
Yeah.
But once I felt like I'd built a story and got from point A to point B and had satisfied my curiosity, I was quite fine turning it off and being like, I don't need to find everything else.
So, but what if there's a clip in there that, like, completely proves...
Yeah,
there's
100%
a twin.
right. Genuinely, I thought of that at the time, but my thought process on it was, I was like, I've built my story. I'm so much happier that this is a game where me and you could come up with two different theories.
Yeah, so welcome back, anyone that didn't want it to be spoiled.
So, you, on the other hand, Liam, I suggested you a beautiful storytelling game where,
Not great
anything
for
is
a
possible.
phone. You didn't really factor in the medium, shall we say.
If you remember correctly, you were like, I have her story.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
So fuck you.
Just saying.
Don't try and... I also didn't want to do apps. I wanted to do games. So I suggested the perfect thing for what I wanted to do. You played it on a phone.
Yeah, but obviously you knew that we were doing it for phones, right?
No, because I wanted to do games. I didn't want to do apps. And I don't play app games. I literally couldn't have suggested you anything, Liam. I haven't played any games on my phone properly.
Yeah, and I'm not saying let's never do games. I was just saying, for the first one, apps are a nice, cheap alternative.
I don't think you can shift the blame for this onto me and say that it's my fault because I knew we were doing phones. I also didn't play it on a phone, so I have no idea what it was like on the phone.
So all I'm saying...
if you're going to try and edit this to make me seem like the asshole, and I'm not going to let it happen, Liam.
All I'm saying is,
title the episode,
once again, you didn't factor certain things that you knew into your decision.
I think I've realised what's happening.
What?
You know what my opinion of the game you've suggested to me is, right?
No, I don't.
You figured it out. I don't think you know fully, but I think you can guess. And I think that what you're doing is building up a little defensive wall where you aren't quite as happy with my game as you could have been, so that you don't feel as bad when I get real annoyed.
No,
at what you made
it's
me
not
play.
even that. All I'm saying is, like I said to you before, phone games, for me, there's a time and a place for them. Like, I won't just sit down and just immerse myself in a phone game. It's a distraction when something else is going on, okay?
Yeah.
Now, her story is not the sort of game that you just mindlessly play while something else is going on. You sit down, you focus, and you concentrate. So, all I was saying is, as a phone
this does
game...
lead us quite nicely
Yeah.
into what your app was.
Yeah, because what I suggested to you is exactly the sort of thing that I would approach a phone game as being.
Well, let me get to the points I'm going to make, Liam.
Well,
We'll
what
start
game did
properly.
I recommend to you?
Exactly. Thank you, sir. You suggested to me a little game called called Soda Dungeon. I'm just doing that to annoy you.
Yeah, Soda Dungeon. What's the premise?
So Soda Dungeon is a game made by Armour Games, who still are a website that does Flash games. They released this app game as a sort of, because mobile games are doing pretty well, I guess. So they were like, oh, we'll cash in as well. So the premise of Soda Dungeon is you are a man, assumedly, or a woman, who is sent to a dimension where they drink soda, I guess. I don't know why. You basically you have 5 party slots to build your little team. You start with a couple. I think the first time you start with one person, and they send you out. You then send that person into a dungeon. You can then click on an enemy to get your person to attack them. Press. Or you can use one of their special abilities. So some of them have magic spells and stuff. Or you can block. Yeah, that's about right. And then you slowly you earn money through the dungeon. You keep that money when they die, and the aim of the game is to get further and further into the dungeon. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So you unlock more people as you play. You get money. You use the money to upgrade your tavern, which attracts new clients when you buy a new type of soda. So the game is very much weirdly one of the hints they give you in the game is if you don't want to be doing this, you can press a little button that says auto, and they will just attack constantly. The healer will heal if someone gets too low. If there's enough enemies, the mages will use their spells to do damage to all the enemies. So my first issue with this game is that I just press that button, and I don't really play this game.
Okay.
The only bit I have any interaction with is I logged on, and I've played this seriously every day for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I've been playing it. I come home from work. I put this down. I watch YouTube or videos or films, and I have this with me. Every now and again, I look at it and it says, "Oh, you've completed a level or whatever." I hire some new people, give them some equipment, press go, and put my phone down. To me, that's not that interesting.
Okay.
Because I'm having no effect. The only time it became an issue was, so basically every 100 levels you complete.
Yeah.
Or, is it 100 levels of the dungeon? Yeah, so there's like 10 stages per level and 100 levels on each floor of the dungeon.
Yeah.
The first time you do it, you get to level 100. If you get to floor 100, you fight a boss.
Yeah.
If you beat that boss, you can teleport to the next dimension, and in the next dimension there are 200 floors.
Yeah, and you also unlock a little bonus thing for completing the 100.
Yeah, you get little, they're
boosters.
Called relics.
Yeah.
And they give you, each one gives you, like, one will give you a base attack increase.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So you do that, and for the first 400 floors,
yeah,
you can literally just put them on auto and leave it running.
Yeah.
And you will make it eventually, because they'll die, but when they die, they'll have picked up new equipment, which you can then give to the next set. They'll get better, they'll go further. So which is the standard premise of games is, or this sort of game, is the you earn stuff to get further.
Yeah.
Right? So this continues for 400 floors. You then get to the 5th level of the dungeon, 5th dimension even. And on the 5th dimension, do you remember the boss for the 5th dimension, Liam?
Is it the one that you can only kill with healing?
Yeah. So what they've done up to this point, all the bosses have been very similar. Some of them do area effect and hit all your people. Some like cause stuns or sleep on your people. This one, the only way to defeat it is to cast healing magic on it. If you do anything else, it does 0 damage.
Yeah.
So I noticed this happening because I leave my phone and don't pay attention. I was just letting the game run. I was getting to level 500 and dying for like maybe a night.
Yeah.
So the next day I was like, fine, I'll pay more attention.
Because the wizard does actually say at the beginning when you enter that dimension.
Yeah, so they do give you clues, which is
Yeah.
fair. They give you clues to what you have to do to beat the bosses.
Yeah.
If they're a boss with a gimmick. So you then get to that point, you figure out it's the healers, which means that I then can't do a whole floor run with my healers. I can't do a party of healers because they're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
But I also know that I've got a very specific party structure that will go the distance. They can go pretty far into a dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I then have to use the warp, which I don't do particularly. I always started on level 1.
Yeah.
Because fuck it, that means I've got about an hour where my phone's just going in the background and I don't have to do anything.
And you're getting more gold.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that suddenly changes the way that works. And then that's fine if it happened once. But it doesn't. Because all the bosses you defeat, except for the first boss, stay on their floor.
Yeah.
So every time after that point, I know my team will get to level 500.
Yeah.
I have to be watching for them to get to level 500 or warp ahead of that, which immediately means I can't leave my phone for an hour.
Did you ever get to level, I think, 8 or 900?
No, I got to level 700, which is the fighter boss.
Oh, okay, yeah, so there's another boss later, which is the fighter boss, where you can only destroy it with a certain type again.
But not even that. At least with the healer one, my whole party can stay there.
Yeah.
When you get to the fighter boss,
Yeah.
he casts a spell which causes any non-fighters to immediately die.
Yeah.
So that means I can then, from that point on, I can't do a floor 1 to floor 600 run, or whatever, floor 800 run. So that to me was an issue.
Okay.
That's
so
where I
one
got
of the
last
things
night.
you did say, that I just would like to point out, is you said that you put it on auto, and then you just didn't have to pay attention to it.
Yep.
And you said so it didn't really feel like a game.
Yep.
But that was also your choice to play it that way. You could have played it where you did do
but
it.
What I'm saying is it worked.
It does. Yeah, it does work like that.
So I can't leave Fallout 4 on and just expect everything to be fine. I have to have input with it. You were saying that Her Story didn't feel like a game as much because there was a lack of input, or like you couldn't interact with...
No, I didn't say that made it less of a game. I just said it made it a different game.
Right. Well, to me, it made Soda Dungeon less of a game.
Okay.
If I have... So, because basically, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a premise, or like, not a theory, that's the wrong word, but there's this idea in video games where if you give the player an easy way to do something, they will take that route.
Yeah.
Now, the easiest way for me to get from floor 1 to floor 500 is to put them on auto, have a healer, have a knight so they can't get any traps, have a thief so I get all the treasure, have a conjurer to take out all of the big groups,
Yeah.
Your knight does the same thing. Then when you eventually get a rage Zerker, which is the final thing you can unlock, you get a rage Zerker to buff everyone or random people.
Yeah.
And they will get to floor 500.
Yeah.
So there's no need for me to interact. Me interacting would slow them down.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely.
So that to me is a problem. Like,
Okay.
I get the logic, and I get that I'm not playing it the way that some people will.
Yeah.
I know some people will do full-on party structures and be, like, trying to play it tactically.
Yeah.
But I can't, because the game's given me a way to not do that.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the game perfectly for, I think, a good, 2 weeks. But that was enough then. I was like, well, I got to, floor 1,500 or something. I was like,
Yeah.
I get it, I don't need to go further with it.
Yeah.
But for those 2 weeks, I found it perfectly enjoyable. And again, it's the perfect poopy game.
See, but again, I don't know if it is, because surely, if I'm just, I don't know, how quickly could you get through floors 1 to 500? See, because for you work at home, which means that if your game is carried on after you're pooping, you can just walk out with your phone on, put it on the side, if you have overrun a little bit.
Well, what I would do is I just leave it in my pocket running.
Yeah, see, my phone's quite bright, and most modern phones are.
You can turn the brightness down on most phones.
Yeah, but then also I'm at work, and I don't have my charger at work, so I leave it at home. And there's all number of reasons. Or I might
so
be
you
using
could
my
take
phone.
a charger into work, is one option.
So yeah, but then so your solution to me not wanting to run my phone constantly playing this game is it shouldn't be that's a problem with the game that it's taking so long.
I agree.
I should charge.
I didn't run it constantly. It would be
Yeah.
I'd
No,
maybe
but
do
I've
it
been running
overnight
less
or
than-
something.
The only times I've left it running, and the reason in the blab I said I had some ridiculous amount of hours.
Yeah.
And we then discovered, or I discovered, that one of the issues I had was I was leaving this running so much at night that I would just fall asleep. I'd fall asleep with it on.
Yeah.
So I believe I'm on 68 hours at the moment.
Okay.
But realistically, I've probably played 28,
Yeah, that makes sense.
2 hours a night.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't enjoy it, man. The moment this podcast's done, I'm deleting it.
That's
And I won't look
fair
back.
enough. It's a shame you didn't enjoy it. It is one of those games where, for me, it taps into the things that make things like World of Warcraft so addictive, where it's all about giving you incremental rewards.
Yeah, okay. No, that makes sense. I get, I've heard something the other day about, there's basically 3 types of gamers. It sounds like I'm building up to some sort of insult, but I'm genuinely not.
Yeah.
There's like, it was called Type A, Type B, and Type C or something, and it was like...
That was some innovative naming there.
I don't know if that was the actual names either. They might have been better.
Okay.
It was along the lines of one player plays to discover,
Yeah.
one player plays to complete,
Yeah.
and one player plays for... there was a third aspect, like the challenge or something. There's these 3 different types, and not everyone will enjoy the same stuff because not everyone is looking for the same thing. So for me,
Yeah.
her story is my idea of what I want. I want to discover things. I want to be discovering a story. And that's why I think I don't like MMOs particularly, and I don't like these sort of games, because I don't get the same rush from getting the incremental rewards, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the other thing is, if you play a game like Soda Dungeon and you're expecting the same rush as a game like Fallout 4...
No, but I didn't go in thinking, oh my god, this is going to be the best game I've ever played.
Yeah.
I've played apps before, and I know what they're about. But if we just look at app games, I prefer something like... what's the really good one that you wanted to suggest me, but we both played? Monument Valley?
Yeah.
I
okay.
really like games like that. Just even if they're short and simple little puzzle games or whatever.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't know.
discovery games.
Yeah, but then I like puzzle games as well, so I guess that,
But that does
still
also...
appealing.
I think, you're saying these 3 types of people. To me, it sounds like that's dependent on the game, because personally, you know me, I like discovering, I like completing, definitely, get the trophies, and I also like the challenge. So...
Yeah, no, I think everyone likes all 3.
Yeah,
It's
just
just
on
that
how
people
much.
tend towards... So I would say the fact that you complete games would tend you towards the completion category.
Yeah.
You still have the discovery, and everyone enjoys all of those aspects.
Yeah.
But I won't go out of my... So if I had to make a choice between the story in a game or finishing it... So I know people that... one of my friends will... In Fallout, he saved at a certain point, went back, played it 3 times to get the 3 endings. I don't think this was you.
You don't think it... No, I got bored of Fallout after a weekend.
Yeah, that's right. No, it was someone else. But he went back and has finished all these 3 different storylines to get achievements.
Yeah.
But to me, that defeats what my character... I think of my character in a linear story.
I get that. For me, if I was to play it, I would do the same to get the achievements, but I would have sort of one playthrough that is like my character playthrough. So I would be playing it, doing what my character would do, and then the other two would be just to quickly get those achievements.
Yeah, I get it. I guess that makes sense. The only example I have, the only sort of good example of the way... I think I'm the one with the problem, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think I'm the weird one here. But
Probably.
My best example is when I played Mass Effect 1, 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I played the first one, then waited ages for the second one, went back to play the first one, couldn't bring myself to do it, because I was like, well, my character's not finished his story.
Yeah.
I can't have a second guy and doing different stuff, because my guy's still going. So then I played 2 and 3, ended up making out with the alien chick and becoming BFFs with her. Went back to play them again and was like, oh, maybe I'll try with a different romance option. Couldn't do it. I felt like I was betraying my character.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it made me feel bad. I genuinely couldn't do the flirt options with anyone else, because I was like, oh, it would hurt their feelings. They're characters, Liam.
Yeah, you're getting a bit too invested in it.
Yeah, I 100% get too invested in it.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas Soda Dungeon, I did not get invested in those characters, Liam.
No, but you're also not supposed to, because you you send them out to die every time. Like, the game doesn't end until all your characters are dead.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So it would be one twisted game if that was kind of...
But yeah, I'm not shitting on the game, and I'm not saying that people that enjoy those games are stupid.
I think the best way to look at it is it's a different type of game for a different circumstance. So let's say
then, I wouldn't play that as a pooping game.
No, I know, but let's just say, for example, you've got an evening to kill. You're more likely going to fire up the PlayStation and sink that evening into something like Fallout than fire up your phone and sink any app for a whole evening.
Yeah, yeah.
But, equally, when you're going to go do a little poop, you're not going to fire up your PlayStation and have a little game on that while you're pooping.
Well, no, that's because most of us poop at work, I guess.
Exactly. So that's when the phone comes in handy.
But even that, see, I think my issue is I'm just not a fan of phone games.
Yeah,
in fact, I find it quite strange that you would have suggested phone games as a topic, knowing my opinion of phone games, which is I don't like them.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a cheap alternative to doing PlayStation, so we didn't both have to dump 40 quid on a game.
Oh wow, I'd have dumped 40 quid to do the podcast, man. Really?
Yeah.
I didn't. No, I'm sorry. I didn't realise that was your attitude towards it. I
but
guess
would you have dumped 40 quid on a
misjudged.
game that you didn't know you would like because I recommended it?
Dude, I have a Steam library of 200 games that I've bought over the years. I've played about, maybe 10% of them? I've bought more games that I don't care about than anything else in this world.
Wow. And people say I've got a problem for buying too many movies.
Yeah, they do, Liam. That's why I don't tell them about my Steam library.
Well, it's now on the internet for all to see
The
or
thing
hear.
is, though, Liam, if you speak to anyone that owns Steam,
Yeah.
I'm not even joking, the majority, probably 80% of people that have Steam, haven't just bought it for Counter-Strike, will have libraries of 200 games.
And that's one of the big reasons why I don't want to get Steam, because I'd be like that.
Oh yeah, you'd be the worst. You'd basically go to the store and just go, put all in basket, check out.
Yeah, especially if there was a sale on, which I know is quite a big thing, isn't it? The Steam
sale. The sales are murder.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a very deliberate decision for me to not have a Steam account.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I mean, I don't make the time to play my PlayStation enough as it is.
Yeah, no, that's true. Right. Anyway, let's round this off. What would I give it out of 5? 1.
1 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
Okay.
Did not enjoy, will not play again.
Would not recommend.
No. To be fair, I'd recommend it to people that I knew would like it.
Okay.
But for me, it's a 1 out of 5.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
So what are we doing next time then? Are we shaking things up again next week?
Yes, we are, Liam. We've decided that next week we're both going to do a TV series.
Okay.
So we've established a couple of rules with this. If the episodes of the series are 40 minutes or longer, you have to do 3. If they are 30 minutes or less, you have to do 6.
Yeah, so
if it's in between 30 or 40, we'll, deal with that.
Basically, overall, what we're expecting the other person to sink into is a minimum of about 3 hours.
Which we both can probably do.
Yeah, just about.
Just.
Yeah.
So I, Liam, have chosen for you probably the most critically acclaimed anime in the last 4 or 5 years, which is Attack on Titan.
Now, I have a question for you about this.
Go for it.
Do you know how I feel about anime?
You do not like anime.
Right, so my question is, why would you recommend something knowing I do not like it?
Right, now, here's my logic on this, right? Attack on Titan is probably one of the most well-known animes at the moment.
Yeah.
And people that don't like anime have started watching it and been like, oh my god, this is incredible.
Okay.
So my logic here is, other people in the world who don't like anime
Yeah.
enjoy this anime.
I should be fair. When I say I don't like anime, it's not because I've watched a lot of it and didn't like it. It just holds zero interest to me. So I've never seen an anime and been like, oh, I wonder what that's like. I just see it and just think it doesn't look like it's for me. So there is an element of ignorance from my part.
Yeah, I'm sure. Seriously, I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
I think one of the problems people have with anime is that they always just imagine it's like kids' cartoons.
No, I always imagine it's like tentacles raping people.
Yeah, exactly. You are a very fucked up person. You're a bit of a dick also. But, you know...
Well, like, let's
isn't
be
that.
fair. I've dabbled with anime movies, and I've seen Akira, which is probably the best-known anime,
Yep.
and something called Barefoot Gen.
Didn't you make it like halfway through Studio Ghibli?
No, I didn't even start.
Oh, that's right, because you were trying to... Oh, God,
Yeah.
let's not get into
I
you
watched
being-
Grave of the Fireflies as well. I forgot about that one, to be fair.
Yeah, so none of those. Akira is probably the closest one to what this is like.
Okay.
And this isn't the same mindfuck that Akira is.
Okay. Well, I'll give it a go. Open-minded. You never know.
Yeah, I swear to God, if you just go into it and you're like, I don't like it, and then you watch them all and you're like, didn't like it, I'm going to be very annoyed.
No, I will definitely give it a go. If I don't like it, I will tell you.
That's fine. It's not about liking these things, Liam. It's about experiencing something new, and I think I've been very good at giving you something this week that is new to you.
That is true. And I'm going to really struggle giving something that's new to you, because all of the things that I watch and like, I tend to recommend to you, and then you go and watch them.
Yeah, this is the issue with us being old friends,
Yes.
is that we have spent a lot of time being like, you should watch this thing I found.
Yeah. So, for example, I could have suggested Oz.
You could have, because I wouldn't have seen that if I didn't know you.
Exactly. But you did know me, and now you've seen it.
You could have suggested me Arrested Development, because I never watched that till you told me to.
Exactly.
Imagine me watching Arrested Development for the first time on this podcast.
That would be
the fans
brilliant.
would have loved it.
Although, to be fair, it probably takes a few more episodes than we would have had to really get into it, maybe. Oh no, six episodes. You probably
Yeah, I
should have
think
got
by
into it
6
by
you're
then.
hooked on Arrested
Yeah, that's true. Friday Night Lights is another... It's a sort of thing that I don't think you would have tracked down on your own.
Nope, I wouldn't. I hear about it. And
Yeah.
I would have heard about it, but I would never have watched it.
And you liked that as well, I believe.
I do like Friday Night Lights.
So, this is where I've got issues, basically.
So what are you going to give me to watch, Liam?
I'm going to give you a little show I stumbled across over Christmas.
Okay.
It's called The Trip.
Okay.
Stars Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon. And I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay, what's it about? Well, without spoiling it.
Without
Is it
spoiling
a spoilery thing?
No, it's kind of just them riffing on each other, really. It's a comedy.
Okay.
You know, the thing is, it's not going to be a show that you'll be like, oh my god, this is my new favourite show ever. But it's also not going to be a show that you're going to really struggle to get through.
Okay, well that's fine. I'm down. I'm down to clown.
Yeah, if I was to give a prediction, I think you'll find it 3.5 out of 5.
Cool. I'm fine with that.
Okay, so that is going to be our next show. So, dear listeners, if you want to get involved, these shows are available on UK Netflix. So, watch them, tweet at us, email us, just interact with us, so it doesn't feel like we're just shouting into a void.
It does feel like that sometimes.
Nearly all the time.
I think that's because of the void in my room, though.
Yeah, and in your heart.
That's the one. That's technically in my room.
Technically. It depends where you are, really.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Nerd on Nerd with me, Jack Kempster, and him, Liam Underwood. If you want to get in contact with us, you can tweet us at Nerd on Nerd or email us at nerdonnerdpod@gmail.com. And if you want to help us out a little bit, it wouldn't hurt to go on iTunes, maybe hit the subscribe button, maybe give us a rating. If you're going to give us a 1-star rating, maybe don't do it, but it's up to you. Bye!
Bye-bye!